Welcome to the How to Heal podcast, the show where we explore real life stories and practical tools to thrive. I'm your host, Lindsay Tremarky Richter, and through over a 15-year journey of all things healing, I'm here to hook it up. If you're feeling overwhelmed, looking for a deeper connection, or straight up in a psycho-spiritual crisis, I got you covered. Let's unearth your unique elixir to purpose, peace, and progress. Here we go. Yo, did you guys listen last week? Because shit got real deep. But today, I'm lightening up. Today, we are getting back to my bread and butter, baby, the physical. So whenever things get out of control in your life, it's just so easy to come back to these physical principles. And today I'm going to talk specifically about, just how to be optimally healthy. I'm going to just start off like high level, and then I'm going to get really specific about some of the practices that I do, that I've done, that have been extremely helpful. So let's get into it. When we, again, get out of control, we come back to the principles. The idea around this is keeping it structured and sweet. So I was just talking to a yoga instructor that I go to frequently, and he teaches a Bikram class. I've taken all different kinds of yoga, all different kinds, Ashtanga, Vinyasa, talked about Kundalini, not the biggest fan, et cetera, et cetera. I keep coming back to Bikram because Bikram, however you want to, if you want to get fancy, we say Bikram. It gives you that structure. I remember coming into class and being like, this is so militant. I cannot stand this. And I talk about this prior, like when I was in corporate. It's that same sort of structure that gives us the groundedness. So we can really remain grounded in the moment when we have structure, when we know the rules, when we know what to do, when we're listening. We're not just freestyling, we're listening. And we're waiting for the cues and we're following directions. We all like that. At a very basic level, we like to have that structure. As children need that structure. They need parental discipline and boundaries. That's where they feel most comfortable. And we're all children at heart here. So, to certain extents, this is where you get your bearings back. If you feel like out of control in your life, you get your bearings back from the structure. Now, I say structured and sweet because it is important not to be too rigid in the structure. We can laugh, we can experience joy. It doesn't have to be so hard and forceful and serious. Like my husband cooks. My husband loves to cook, and I like to cook too. I do. I am not as good of a, let's say, chef as my husband is. I like to go on New York Times and follow directions for healthy recipes. And I've cooked hundreds of times those recipes. And, I find the ones that I like, I eat for health. And that is a very structured approach to diet. However, my husband brings a level of sweetness into the way he prepares foods. And my kids, my oldest daughter can see it because she'll be like, oh, I like daddy's eggs. And it's like, I'm making them the same way, I'm not I know what I'm doing in the kitchen. I'm not like overcooking the scrambled eggs. But like my husband just has a way of putting sweetness into food, putting loving touch into food. And I give you this example to just show you like the dichotomy, like following the recipe to a T and then really making food out of love and out of joy and then having fun. And we really need to marry both of these principles when we look at anything that we do that requires structure to become grounded. So what ends up happening is when you apply this structured and sweet approach, you're doing the things that you know you need to do. You're working out, you're doing your mindset stuff, you're meditating, you're getting enough sleep, you're drinking enough water, you're eating healthy, you're having the difficult conversations that are important to you, et cetera, et cetera. You're able to become sort of laser focused on the tasks at hand. Because as you continue to stay structured and sweet, your body starts to optimally operate. So your brain is not using energy on managing systems that are out of whack, managing your nervous system, managing your liver detox, managing whatever it is, your digestion. So when you get grounded in the things that you know that are good for you, you're able to get laser focused on the things that really, truly matter. This is a segue into next week's episode, but we're not going to go there into the mental episode. We're in the physical this week. I really just want to make a point here. This podcast is called How to Heal. This is not about everyone needing to be a healer. This is about everyone needing to be able to heal themselves. I'm not the example of what you should be. I'm an example of stepping into my healed self and expressing what has been dormant inside of me that I've been wanting to express in the way that I want to express it. So this is not about like being holier than thou. This is not about, oh, I need to be like the perfect human, the exemplary human. That's not what this is about. This is about you getting in touch with yourself to the point where you know you can trust yourself. You go into the doctor, you tell the doctor something's wrong. The doctor tells you, no, it's not. And you know you can trust yourself. So you go and find a second, third, fourth opinion. That's kind of just an important side note here. But so last high level concept I'm going to talk about is an integration topic. And we're talking about light and dark here. Now, when you're in the zone and you're being structured and sweet and you're doing all the things that you know you need to do, and you start to recognize that some lower level, like uncool feelings, thoughts, situations, people come into your life, we have to understand that we don't just cut off dark, negative, low, whatever you want to call it, energy. We have to lovingly intend to send that energy into homeostasis, into the light, into transmutation. We don't just cut off. We don't just ghost. We lovingly intend to repair the situation. I'm going to give you a physical example of this. So in 6th grade, for my science fair project, dissected a lamb's eye and did my science project on the human eye. Well, the eye, period. Obviously, I wasn't dissecting a human eye for my science project. What I did was I had the eye on display, and then I had other portions of the project that explained the way the eye worked. And one of the other things that I had was index cards of sort of optical illusions that the eye plays on us. And I drew like a circle. You'd stare at the circle. You'd pick up the index card and you'd stare at the circle for like 15 seconds. And then you'd look right next to it and there was a blank space next to it. And you would see that color now is the opposite color. So I think red was blue. I don't remember the exact, this is 30 years ago. But what I'm saying is that if you look at something long enough, a shadow of that thing will arise. When we are laser focused, we are able to bring those lights back together. I don't know if you guys remember this Family Guy episode where Stewie was like, oh, I see these particles in the air, and they're like, whatever. It's the same thing. If you're paying attention to what your eyes are doing, you just sort of see, like, you catch things that your eyes are processing that you're not really seeing, that don't matter. So like dust particles or just fractions of light that your eye is picking up on. But why I tell this story is when you're laser focused and you're realizing that there are two sides to the coin, there's no dark without light. Right? So like there's no blue without red, right? So they're both need each other to be the same thing for you to interpret that. So when you're laser focused, you're able to just sort of like recognize when the things are apart and then bring them together. And it's just a practice of intention. It's a practice of focus and meditation and just attention. When you are laser focused, you're really able to harness that intention to become more neutral in how you see things. That's what I'm trying to say here. So now I want to just tell you the 5 things that are just basics, back to basics, what you need to do, tricks of the trade. So let's just talk about diet, because diet is the number one physical thing, right? I mean, what we put in our body directly affects the moment after how we feel. Like when you give a plant sun and water, you see the plant like rise up and look vibrant. The same thing happens with us. So obviously, water, clean water. However much you weigh, drink however many pounds you are, drink that many ounces of water, or aim to reach it at least. If you hit 50%, you're in the green there. But make sure it's clean water and not out of plastic bottles. I use a filter called AquaTrue. I got it from Mark Hyman. He promoted it years ago. I love it. I live in an area with bad water. So clean water, reverse osmosis, however you're going to get it. Don't buy plastic bottles. But we're talking about eating, and I'm not going to go into specific diets because I think it changes all the time. But what I do want to go into is the concept of intuitive eating, because there are 2 ways to know when you are not intuitively eating. And one way is just mindless eating. If you're eating just out of boredom, if you're not paying attention, if you're just watching a movie and shoving food in your face, that's mindless eating. The other part is emotional eating. So emotional eating, obviously, is when you are eating because you're scared, because you're sad, because you're anxiety, because you feel depressed, because you feel like you hate yourself, because you feel like you're fat, whatever it is. So when we emotionally eat, our body is not in a place to digest that food optimally. We really have to eat when we're happy, when we're like ready to take in fuel, when we're ready to convert that food to energy. Like that's the optimal place that we want to eat. And again, I really don't want to talk about diet. I want to talk about how to eat optimally. I've read a lot of books on nutrition way back in the day. I was following Chris Carr. She healed her body of this very rare, she still has cancer, but she's been healthy through her diet. Mark Hyman is also a functional medicine doctor who promoted this pagan diet, which is like vegan and paleo. So it's like protein and whatever, all these different diets. But what I really want to talk about here is knowing your body is functioning optimally or if it's not functioning optimally. If you feel like your body is not functioning optimally, most likely it's not. And that leads me into detox. Now, I mentioned Chris Carr. She's like an OG. And as I started to learn more about juicing and, eating vegetables, and I read the China study, all these things, I started to like just shy away from detoxing because I was like, what is the point of detoxing? Like I'm drinking all this green juice, but Is it really making my digestion better? Because at the end of the day, we really want to talk about your digestion. Your digestion is where you detox. So if you're juicing and all that pure liquid greens are going into your system, it better be coming out. And a lot of us are constipated. A lot of us, don't realize the importance of our digestive health. That's why it's so important to eat greens, because you want to be eliminating, AKA pooping. So I just want to say, if you're going to detox, the true way to detox is to make sure that you are getting that waste out of your body. You have accumulated waste. I think they said this is a terrible thing, but when they said when Elvis died, he had 50 pounds of waste in his body. He was so backed up, he wasn't going to the bathroom. So that is just really something to explore. If you've exhausted all of your options and you're like, I don't know why I'm not losing weight. I don't know why I'm not feeling good. I'm eating all the right things. I'm doing all the things, but you're not pooping regularly. Do yourself a favor and go get a colonic. Go look at Gil Jacobs. Go look at the work he's done. He talks about colon hydrotherapy. Natalia Rose is another one. Duty Free Girl. She's out of New Jersey. These people basically eliminate waste for a living through colon hydrotherapy. There are other ways to do it. You can also use enemas. You can use coffee enema, hydrogen peroxide enema. But the goal is to loosen the stool with green juice and remove it. So I'm going to go to the next topic. I know that's not the sexiest topic, but that's a little trick. If you are not feeling well and you are doing all of the things and your digestion is not in the right place, that's your next step. Obviously, physical exercise and breathing. Those two things are huge. We talk about elimination and detox. The skin is another way to eliminate. When you sweat, you release toxins. You really want to break into a sweat every day, whether it's from a rigorous walk or whether it's from running 3 miles. So make sure that you're getting your movement in. Your body loves to move. That's how we transmute old energy. Also listening to music, another way to just sort of switch the vibe. But physical exercise is the number one way you really have long-lasting results and optimizing your physical health. Breathing is so important. I think there's a book by James Nestor called Breath. It's in my Audible queue. I have not read it yet, but I can't wait to, and I'll share when I do. But we really want to get into being in touch with how close we are to our breath and how we're breathing and how deeply we're breathing and how breathing can become a direct response to any situation. If you get stressed out, you're that's a physiological response to stress. So when we're able to really harness the breath and prolong the breath, prolong exhales, prolong inhales, envision that breath coming into areas of discomfort, releasing what no longer serves us, it's a really good way to get into the physical body so you can be present in your physical body. Another thing is regarding the physical exercise, we are not always at 100%, especially women, right? So women are on a 28 to 30 day cycle. Men are on a 1-day cycle. Men go to sleep, they wake up, they're dealing with the same deck of cards. Women are not like that. Women are dealing with a menstrual cycle. So we have a 28 to 30 day cycle. We have the menstruation phase, the follicular phase, the ovulation phase, and then the luteal phase. Just understand that when we are in a menstrual phase, or even certain parts of our luteal phase towards the end, our energy is so low. Even if we were to go in and do a workout, which you can really optimize the types of workouts that you do according to your cycle. But say you went in and you were taking a CrossFit class and you really only had like 60% to give. If you gave 100% of that 60%, you gave it 100%. You know what I'm saying? So like, let's not try to force ourselves to work at every single day of the month the same way. We have to really understand that we have cycles, that we are stronger and more powerful and need rest and recoup throughout the month. So please respect that. 100% doesn't always have to be 100%. Again, if you're only at 50% that day, if you gave 100% of the 50%, you're good. And the last thing I want to talk about really quick is the high level of physical health. Skincare is underrated. Again, we detox through our skin, so dry brushing is awesome. Gua sha is also like a way to manipulate your muscles in your face, in your body, your lymph nodes. All of these things help you detox. So you really want to pay attention to your body, feel your body, look at your body, touch your body in intentional ways, in a loving touch and an understanding touch, and say, oh, you're tired right now. Like, relax, however it is that you're going to relate to yourself, that you're going to give yourself that nurturing touch, make sure you give yourself that nurturing touch, because no one's going to really do it for you. You should know the cycles of your body and be able to do that for yourself. Yes, it is so nice to go and be able to get a massage and go see healers and to go to a chiropractor and to get acupuncture and all the things. But in reality, who's affording this? Like Kim Kardashian works out 3 hours a day and then he's like cosmetic surgeons the rest of the day. This is not how we can't look this good and feel this good all the time. We have to start honing in and paying attention to how we feel so that we can manipulate those cycles for ourselves. So skincare is one of them. I use SPF on my face. If I'm going to be out for the whole day, I'll also put some SPF on my body, but looking to be more friendly with the sun, where it's not like I'm going out to bake and to get tan but I'm paying attention to how my body is responding to the sun. I put sunscreen on my face for vanity reasons. I don't want to get wrinkles on my face. But your skin is like the way you take in vitamin D. And when you're exposing your skin to the sun, I've also read that coconut oil is a really good barrier for the sun. So if you put on, that's what I use right now. I'm using for lotion. I don't use real lotion because either the scent is weird or the chemicals, I don't know, or just it's too creamy on my body. But coconut oil is so good because I also read that it firms up your boobs. And that is something that I'm trying to do after having 2 kids. But, the coconut oil I've read is a good sun barrier. Obviously, be smart. Don't go laying in the sun for 3 hours, or if you have fair skin, cover up. But the other thing and last thing I wanted to mention was when you go out in the morning and you're going to work and you get in the car and the first thing you do is you throw on your sunglasses, you're all cool. Just first thing in the morning, don't put the sunglasses on. Let the sun come into your eyes. Let the circadian rhythms of the sun are really important for optimal physical health. We want to be able to know when it's daytime. So we're inside so much in the morning. Don't put the sunglasses on. Let your eyes wake up, be in touch with, the earth, what we got going on, and takes a little bit of sun. Do not stare directly into the sun, but just don't put the shades on, because the shades signal to your body that it is not morning. And we really want to get in touch with the physical rhythms, the circadian rhythms, to optimize, obviously, not only vitamin D levels, but sleep. So I hope this episode was helpful, and I can't wait to see you guys next week. Peace out.